Welcome to another episode of the Best Friends by Design podcast. We are your hosts, Janet and Giselle. And today, in honor of Giselle's 49th birthday, we have a special episode lined up for you where we will discuss our personal journeys towards our healthier lifestyles. So some of the topics that we're going to cover today is alcohol's effect on your body, the benefits of hormone therapy, exercise and diet adjustments that you can make, and skincare and beauty treatments.
I guess let's get right to
Let's get right to it. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. You're more beautiful and radiant than ever.
Thank you. I feel good.
You look great. And
That's what's the most important. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that is the most important, but age is just a number, right?
Absolutely.
So let's start talking about like what major shifts for you. What major shift can you say you've made in your life as far as your health and your wellness?
I think the major one was, not drinking any alcohol whatsoever. And that was a huge one. I did it about 3.5 years ago. I'm going actually on 4 years of not drinking. And that was because I was having a lot of health issues. So I was feeling really exhausted, really tired. I had gained a lot of weight, and I had gone to many different doctors. And finally, a functional medicine doctor told me I have a condition, a liver condition, genetic liver condition, where my liver doesn't process toxins well. And for our viewers, this was not something a regular doctor caught because insurance only covers certain tests. This I had to pay, out of pocket through a functional medicine doctor that ran many different tests based on my symptoms. And once we found that out, it wasn't just alcohol. So being sensitive to toxins, that means you have to remove everything that's toxic, meaning lotions, makeup, you name it, environmental. But the major one was alcohol. And that was really an interesting journey, let's put it that way.
And probably difficult.
It was very difficult, a lot more than I thought, because I considered myself a social drinker. Yeah. I didn't consider myself like an alcoholic or having a real issue.
Like how much were you drinking?
I was drinking when I was celebrating. I was drinking when I was sad. I was drinking when I was cooking. I was drinking when we were in Soho House. I was drinking at every single event. What's the first thing people give you when you go into an event?
Right.
And anytime you're brunching, you're having dinner with friends, it's all surrounded by alcohol. And at first it was extremely hard.
Yeah.
Which I felt said a lot about what I thought was my relationship with alcohol. And what I realized was that I did have a little bit of a dependency towards it.
Let's go back a little bit, though, because did you just suddenly start feeling, was alcohol like giving you a negative effect, or was it always like this since it's a genetic condition, or is it a change that you saw like with age or as you got older?
I definitely always had a sensitivity to alcohol, even when I was younger. I was one of those people that got drunk after 2 drinks,
You're a lightweight.
Yeah, I was a lightweight. Well, now we know why I was a lightweight, and it has
Right.
to do with the liver. And I really didn't start drinking till my 30s. I was just never attracted to it. And I started to because I got during my divorce. That was like a little bit of a...
Drowning your sorrows.
Totally. Tequila
Yeah.
was my best friend.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, because you would come and get me out of my misery. But that was my first relationship with alcohol, was through my divorce. And yeah, that was definitely interesting. But I did notice that a progressive sensitivity. And since then, what I learned is a lot of the weight that I was carrying was a lot of inflammation.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So once the inflammation and the water retention, because water retention is a big thing, got reduced, then I started getting smaller. And then I learned about the sugar that the alcohol has and how much it affects me. And I'm definitely like close to being diabetic. I was back then. Now I'm not, thank God, because of the whole lifestyle change. But I was pre-diabetic as well.
It's funny how you, like for myself, like I always say, I retain a lot of water just naturally. Like
Right.
there'll be days that my rings don't fit me or my shoes feel tight or like, and I would think it's just, I don't know, maybe I had too much salt but you don't ever connect drinking or alcohol or like other things with that, like certain things, like if you're bloated or, you feel puffy or inflammation, you don't realize that until you study and you go back and think, okay, what did I do in the last few days that has created that effect in my body? Until you really like speak to someone, like you said, a functional medicine doctor that can actually like test for those things and find like some sort of genetic, I don't know, something like chemically, like a chemical imbalance.
When you're mentioning what you did for the last couple of days, that's what people automatically assume is how you feel during that moment. What I learned from this process is the liver regenerates itself. And the liver is another way that your brain works. So I was having also issues with memory. I was forgetting things, and you assume, oh my God, this is just because of age, but it's not. What happens is when your liver is so bogged down with toxins, it affects your brain. It affects your hormones. It affects everything. I used to get a lot of ovarian cysts that would rupture, and I would have really horrible periods. Well, part of the benefits of not drinking anymore and completely removing it out of my diet was I don't get ovarian cysts anymore. Bad periods had completely stopped. And then during the first year, you see a certain amount of progression. Let's say with my physical appearance, the second year was another progressive. And now on the fourth, it's like people are like, I don't recognize you. You look completely different. You look like, it was a 30-pound weight loss as well.
That's so interesting.
It's very interesting, and you don't assume that something as simple as, drinking casually. My personal choice was to remove it completely because I'm an extremist. I'm not one of those people that could just have a couple of drinks and then stop and go back to it. For me, it's just my personality. That's the beauty about being a Virgo is you're such a perfectionist, but it's also, I'm just an extremist.
No, but if your body clearly can't process the toxins, then you have to cut it out. It's not a matter of slowing down or cutting back. Like I've cut back. I don't drink half as much as I used to before. I would go to happy hours, three times a week on weekends and mix alcohol. I never had a problem. Now, between the brain fog, then how it throws my diet out of whack, and then my sugar cravings that I get for days after I drink. I realized that I was like, okay, that's it.
And what it does for
can't do that anymore.
And what it does for your skin too.
Yeah, everything.
I had the perfect storm. It was COVID, which normally people were drinking more during COVID, but I had, Jay and Joseph, which are very good close friends of ours, also stopped drinking. So I'm
sure that helped.
It helped tremendously because we would socialize, and they're like, Giselle, try this mocktail and try this. And I was like, okay. And they were my support system. So they were like my little whoopee pad when we were going out because it's so much easier to have somebody doing it with you versus, having to have the courage to kind of do it on your own, and everybody's shoving alcohol in your face. It's like, hey, just have one drink. What's wrong? I miss drunky Giselle. That was, some of the things I would hear as well too. And I'm like, shit, am I no fun anymore? And it's a lot of an emotional roller coaster you go through because number one, I did use alcohol as a coping mechanism. I didn't realize it at the time, but being so many years without it and evaluating the emotional effect it had on me, I was using it, and it was something that I had to learn about myself. Like, okay, why was I using alcohol as a coping mechanism? Why was I using it as a reward system? And everybody's journey is very personal, but at the same time I was going through all those questions in my head. I was physically seeing the benefits of not drinking.
Yeah.
Being sharp. I mean, look at all the stuff I have going on right now. I don't think I would be able to do that if I wasn't sharp, if I didn't stop drinking, and I didn't have the benefits of that. And for those people who do like dry January or do it maybe just for a weekend, that gives you temporary benefits. The real benefits are when you let a lot of time pass through, because your body's healing. All your organs are regenerating, your brain is, your hormones are balancing out, your sugar levels are balancing out. So it's not just a little weekend thing. If you really want to see amazing results, emotionally, mentally, and maybe it's not cold turkey for everybody. Maybe
baby
steps. Maybe you decide
cut back first.
Yeah, like maybe that you decide I'm not going to drink during the week, but I'll drink on the
weekends. That's what I do now.
Yeah, just drink.
It's fine. I don't miss it. I'm good with that.
And just for FYI, I do not judge people who drink.
Yeah.
This is my personal journey. And this is what's been good for me and what's helped me get to that place. But I never want people to feel that, like, if they're hanging out with me, that I'm judging them.
Right.
Everybody has to go through their process in their own time. Now, Brett, on the other hand, with him, I'm like, no, you need. Now I'm like telling you need to stop. And he's like, why? It's not my thing. And I'm like, because I said so. No, the reality is, other than being a very aggressive, very loving Latin wife, is that when you love somebody, you want to share your journey. You want to share.
You want the best for them.
You want to share what's worked for you and all the benefits that come along with it. And our relationship is based on kind of being on the same page.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like grow together, you fall apart.
Absolutely.
And him drinking and being party, and I'm like sober as shit.
Plus, you want to be on the same level too, especially
in
a social setting.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't want one sleepy and the other one like excited. So, what do you do now for fun? I mean, okay, so drinking, yes, toxic,
right?
But it's fun.
Okay, listen,
to get your little buzz going is nice.
Yeah.
So, what do you do like when you're at a party, or like you're not completely sober, are you?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It all depends on like how I feel during the day. But I mean, number one, go to your medical physician. Make sure that you're tested for anything that you do. But there's so many great alternatives. Now they have like CBD gummies and have CBD drops.
Mm-hmm.
There's hemp. There's
hemp gummies.
There's like
those are actually great for sleep.
Yeah.
I use those for sleep sometimes. I mean, sometimes they work, but
yeah. So there's there's so much stuff out in the market that, you take a little gummy and you have a little buzz going on. And I love like spicy mocktails. So I always have them do it and I do like low sugar because definitely I'm very sensitive to sugar.
Oh yeah, that's
and so I'll do like I'll ask them to do a jalapeno in it. So I get that spice, or tahini, because I love to drink margaritas and tequila. So that gives me the taste. It's almost like kind of at the beginning, you have to fool yourself.
Right.
And part of that is having a beautiful glass, with a great drink. Because when you're talking, what I learned from the whole thing is it's more of a hand to mouth thing it's a habit that we have, especially when we're socializing, is having something that you feel like you're part of the celebration. Mm-hmm. And with a mocktail, it's like a perfect thing. And we've found a couple of different brands that we really enjoy and like a lot.
Yeah, there's great mocktails. Yeah. Definitely. And what we're drinking now, these are cannabis infused. With CBD, they're amazing. I love these, and they chill you. I mean, they're just great.
They are.
I have them in the office. I have them at home, and It's nice.
I mean, and let's talk about how good it feels not to have a hangover
Oh
the
my
next
gosh, that's the word. That for me would make me quit. I mean, thank God, I don't have issues processing liquor or anything like that, but definitely I've noticed throughout the years, especially like lately in the 40s,
day.
that I can't recover. It takes days to
Yeah.
recover from like one night of going out and drinking.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be able to have 5 Cosmos, like nothing, like a champ.
I know.
Now it's like between the brain fog, I'm tired, then I'm hungry. Like I want to eat things I would normally never eat. Like, you know, I want like something greasy or like fried. I don't eat fried food, you know? So it's like, it's just crazy. Like for that reason, I'm like, cut it out because, you know, diet is so important. You know,
It
for
is.
me, it's 100% diet. But yeah, yeah. I mean, there's just so many alternatives now and options if somebody wants to like, you know, slow down and maybe take a break from drinking.
I think it's become a lot more popular. Like there's the non-alcoholic beers that you can
Mhm.
have. I find
Yeah.
that those taste the most similar to real alcohol. But when I was in Switzerland, they had a non-alcoholic wine that I had, and I was like, oh, I was so excited because it tasted like real alcohol. And sometimes with foods, you know, I do miss the pairing of a good wine with food. So I did get to taste that and have that experience. So the world is changing,
Yeah.
and we're all had this awakening of a healthier lifestyle. And I know whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or in your 20s, I think it's become an awareness of what it does to your body and the options you have out there. There's so many options now.
Definitely. Before it was only the pregnant women that didn't drink, remember?
Exactly.
And now it's just,
people are making that as a choice. Let's discuss the benefits of hormone therapy.
yes. So I feel like the word hormones has a stigma attached to it, especially not for men so much as women.
Yeah.
Like testosterone.
Yeah.
It's not a bad word.
It's not.
And women need it just as much as men do. I mean, men naturally produce testosterone, but women, as they age, their testosterone levels lower, and that we need that. We need the key is to have optimal levels of all of your hormones.
Yeah.
And as you age, women, their hormones start getting out of whack because, you know, the way we were built, or, you know,
The process.
Yeah. So we're both we both have go on hormone therapy, and we have, I mean, for me, I've noticed I've been on it since January because of you,
Yeah.
because you started it much longer,
Yeah.
like probably 2
Years.
years.
A couple
years.
Yeah, years. So why don't we back up a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you do, because there's two different things. When you go to a regular doctor and
They're not going to tell you.
they do your blood work, the insurance will only cover anything that's like big red flags with the numbers being really low. Hormone therapists, when they do your blood work,
Which are also doctors, though.
they're also doctors, look at your blood work very differently. Number one, they do a lot of more tests.
Yeah, the blood work panel is like crazy.
Exactly.
Like they take how many vials
Exactly.
or you know, they draw so much, and they test for like everything,
They
even
test.
thyroid.
Exactly.
I mean, you'll get a standard thyroid measurement with like a regular doctor, but a hormone doctor will really like look into it and like kind of break it apart.
Exactly. And then they're able to, their goal is to get you at optimal levels versus when you go to a doctor, they're just wanting to make sure you're not sick.
Yeah.
These hormone doctors want to make sure you're at the best shape of your life.
Yes.
And
For years to come. It's age management.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly. So when they're looking at all your scores, it's very different than going to your regular primary doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing I think people should know. The second thing is the benefits of, like, for instance, testosterone. We work out and we want to try to maintain muscle mass as best as possible. And one of the benefits of taking testosterone is being able to maintain your muscle mass. Your skin looks younger. You have more energy. Let's talk about your sex drive.
Yeah, the libido.
The libido is a big one, and that's why, like, Brett's also on hormone therapy. And as a couple, it's very good for us because, let's face it, sex is very important in a relationship, that connection that you have. And if one person has more libido or less than the other, it could create a disconnect.
Absolutely.
So for us, we wanted to make sure, obviously, that we're on the same page, even on that aspect when it comes to our different levels.
Definitely. And also, aside from, like, I'll talk about when I first visited that doctor, which I love. I mean, amazing. For years, first of all, how does somebody know to go to a hormone doctor? It's like, for women, you notice.
Yeah.
It's like you start feeling off. You start feeling like not yourself. Like maybe, you used to be go, go, go all day, and then all of a sudden at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. you're starting to crash a little bit. Or you're feeling a little like it's harder for you to wake up in the morning, or it's harder for you to fall asleep. There's like certain things you have to listen to your body and realize that there's something changing there. You know what I mean? You might be starting to feel a little thicker around your midsection, or feeling inflammation, or feeling like your ankles are swollen. I mean, just things. Your hair's falling out. I mean, we're so sensitive, like women's bodies. And so you have to, like, learn to listen to your body when it's telling you something. And if you go to a regular doctor first, if they say, "Oh, you're perfectly healthy, you're fine," but you're still feeling a little like, go to a hormone specialist. Have your blood, like, really, like, have them check for all these things, because they discovered for me that that my thyroid was low. Never in my life did I have an issue with thyroid. I never take medication for anything. And they were like, "Oh my God, your thyroid is, like, super low." And that's why I went. I was feeling super lethargic, and I'm like, I have a ton of energy. I'm usually on all day for hours. And same thing, I was crashing. I was getting so tired at like 3 p.m. Like, can you imagine? Like, especially what we do all day, and you're like tired, and I'm like, no coffee in the world is gonna make me feel like awake right now,
But I think now, with all the crap that we have in our food and our water, especially in the US, because our regulations aren't like what it is in Europe, I'm hearing more and more women in their 20s having issues. So I think as soon as possible, do the test, and I think you should gotta do it in different stages of your life, because you could even ask them to do food sensitivity tests, food allergy tests. I mean, they could do a whole panel for the sooner I think we know what's happening in our bodies, because everybody's his own unique world, the better it is, because you're able to implement those changes right away. And it took me later, in my 40s, to make those implements. What would have happened if I did them in my 30s or my 20s? I think the benefits would have been so much sooner. And I think women should really get tested.
Get in front of it. Get in front of it before it's too late. Plus, it's
even when you're having kids, if you're trying to get pregnant. So many women have fertility issues now. Or I hear so many people,
young women not being able to conceive.
And like IVF has become a very common thing. So part of that is understanding your body and have it in its most optimal condition in order to have babies, to live this like very hectic life that we have.
Your health is number one.
Absolutely.
You have to take care of your body, your temple.
That's right.
And you have to just make sure you just
honor
you're
it.
Feeling good, and listen to your body too. You know, a lot of times we were, you know, like I know like moms, like they're worried about their kids or their husbands or, you know, life or taking care of other people. You have to take care of yourself, you know?
The
Because
best analogy that I was ever given was, you know, when you're in the airplane and you put the oxygen first and
yeah,
then you put it on
yourself
somebody
first.
else. We're so conditioned to always take care of other people before ourselves. And that's something that I had to educate myself in, you know, and change that. Putting myself first was something that happened way later. I should have done it a lot sooner. But I'm glad I did, and the benefits have been unbelievable. The transformation, mentally, emotionally, physically, has been so good. My relationship with Brett is better, with my friends are better, because you go through this emotional change when you're going through these transformations. It's like getting to know yourself in different levels. And when your hormones are at their best and you feel young and you feel energized, it's a new you. It's the best
Yeah.
version of yourself.
I feel better now than I did 10 years ago.
So do
I feel younger now than I did 10 years ago. It's crazy.
Well, I keep on getting pictures from everybody, you know, like little flashbacks of even 10 years ago, and they're like, you look like una señora, meaning like an older lady back then versus now.
Right.
And that has to do with the lifestyle.
I thought it was just me. It's so funny, like when I see people posting pictures of themselves when they were younger, like, oh, I'm so proud of the way I wish I looked the way I looked back then. And I'm like, I like the way I look now, but more than I did, you know, when I was in my 20s. Like now I'm more conscious of everything. You know what I mean? Like just, you can tell, like health wise and even just the way I carry myself, you know?
That, I think that comes with age, the confidence that you've built. You've worked so hard to get to this place in your life. The discipline, like the kind of discipline that it's taken us to get to this place is no joke.
No, it is no joke.
It's no joke, and it's a matter of like not feeling peer pressure from your surroundings, really being extremely focused on yourself, and that's something that takes extreme amount of discipline. And it's not anything to laugh at. Like I really
I am my toughest critic. I don't do anything for anyone else because I'm the hardest on myself.
I know you are.
A fault. You know that.
I know you are.
So like I don't need anybody to criticize me. I like
Exactly.
I do that on my own, you know.
Same here, but part of that is also like, you know, that's when we talk about those affirmations. Well, you've minimized drinking, which is a big thing. It's nothing to laugh at or like minimize. You know, somebody who stopped drinking versus somebody who's cutting back, I think it's still a huge thing.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, putting your health first with your hormones and getting tested, and there's a regimen that you have to keep also, so you have to be disciplined in that as well. All these things, you know, accumulate with the benefits of your overall well-being.
It's just a lifestyle change, like for life. It's not just a temporary fix. It's something you have to dedicate yourself to, and it becomes like second nature. You know, like this is just my life. I wake up in the morning, you know, I drink my lemon water with warm water to like start my metabolism, take my pre-workout, go to the gym, you know, give myself like, you know, that hour of intensity, that stress relief, start my day, eat clean, you know, work, keep my brain sharp, and then try to get enough rest. Rest is very important. My problem is insomnia. I cannot fall asleep. Staying asleep, I have no problem. But I think just my mind races. It's so used to being on like green light mode that like to rest it at night, it takes me a while. At least I would say I lay down in bed probably an hour.
Wow.
To an hour and a half sometimes. And yes, I'm on the phone.
I was just gonna say that.
I turned down, I put night mode and like light all the way down. But it's like, what am I gonna do? Just like lay there and like with my eyes like this? Like I have to do something. So of course I'm scrolling. I mean, I'm not working at least, but it's the only time that I have to like, you know, go on YouTube and like catch up, just like read something, like read articles,
Right.
like things that I don't have time to do during the day. But yeah, it's that discipline and having, your daily habits that help with your, your focus, your mind, your health are so important. They just become part of you.
Yeah.
It's not really a chore. It's not like, oh, I gotta go to the gym. Oh, I gotta work out. That's like
I look
the
forward
wrong
to
attitude
it.
to have.
I look forward to it.
It should be like, for me, it's my hour of the day that it's just for me. And I don't cancel it for anybody. Like, ask my trainer. Like, I've never canceled a session. Like, you know how it is.
I know,
I'm
I
like
love
the
that.
one telling you, like, we're going to yoga, we're going to Pilates, we're doing this,
I love
we're doing
it.
that.
But that's another thing too, that I think having that support system
Yeah.
of wellness and somebody that pushes you, it's so good to be around like-minded people because it helps you make good choices.
Mm-hmm.
If you're around people that want to party and drink all the time, it's harder.
Yeah.
And the part of what I had to deal with is I cleaned up a lot of my friend group because once I stopped drinking and I realized that I guess the only time I would enjoy them was when I was drunk. And that's a harsh reality to like, shit, you're my good time friend, but I could only put up with you if I'm drunk.
Oh, yeah, not when I'm sober.
Not when I'm sober.
Well, that's, yeah.
Yeah, and that was
That's
a
just
hard,
some reevaluation there.
That was really hard. And obviously with the people who I really love and have good relationships with, I've had that tough conversation. It's something that I thought about a million times over, and I probably waited too long to have that conversation.
Or you have to admit it to yourself, really.
Yeah.
It's not, it's admitting it to yourself, like, what value does this person bring to my life?
It's horrible.
It's like, are you good time friends? Or are you somebody who inspires me? Like, it's like, and as you get older, you start to realize that those people around you are the ones that you become like mirrors of each other.
Exactly.
And it's like their energy reflects on you on them. And it's like you want to surround yourself around people that lift you up and make you better, make you want more for yourself, and just like, are just positive vibes, like bring you up, not down.
Exactly.
Like, life is too short for that shit.
Exactly. I think, Janet, you have been extremely inspirational when it comes to seeing how you transformed your body since I've met you.
Girl, it's been a mission.
I know, but that booty, girl, shit. Nobody can beat that booty.
Stop.
Talk about
That's genetic,
I don't know. No, I seen you do squats.
No, but yes.
So let's talk about your regimen. What's your exercise regimen?
Okay, so
what have you learned?
Well, what I've changed. Okay, so going back to listening to your body as you get older, and you have to make different shifts. So I've always loved like high intensity, like I just love from the running to the HIIT or boot camp, CrossFit, like all this, like, that's great when you're in your 20s and your knees and your joints are like super healthy and your muscle, like it's different. It's a totally different life. But when you get to I'm a type A personality. So I'm super like work focused, and I'm like, I have to really put effort into self-care, because if I don't think about it and say, okay, Janet, like you have to like slow down, breathe, like do those things.
Yeah.
I'll easily get stressed out and have like super high anxiety. So for me, my workouts are my stress relief, and I've realized that all that high intensity and all those like intense workouts, they were actually stressing me out even more. And I realized that because I would be going to these Barry's boot camp, I would be spinning, I would be doing all this, and I'm like, I don't look any different, and I'm killing myself at the gym, and I'm eating low carb, and I'm like, and I was still like, I don't know, I had a lot of inflammation, and I was like, what's going on? I realized that like high intensity exercise it
Cortisol.
raises your cortisol levels. Okay, so and cortisol it leads to stress
and makes your body hoard
and
the fat.
Hoard the fat, hoard the water.
Yep.
So you're getting all of this. It's like the reverse effect that you would think.
Same thing happened to me. I was doing tons of cardio, and I was like so desperate to lose weight.
Yeah.
And instead of losing weight, I was gaining. And I actually, with my functional medicine doctor, he's like, I want you to journal, like what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're consuming, what kind of exercise. And he was the one between that and checking my blood work that was like, no, your body is hoarding the fat. You're actually stressing yourself. So my workout regimens consist of yoga, hot yoga, Pilates, and weight training.
Right. So that's what I was going to say.
Go ahead. But yours is
so that's the tweak that I ended up making from I started realizing, okay, so I need to start changing this, and especially with the hormone therapy, because now my testosterone levels were going to be leveled out. I no longer do cardio. I stopped doing cardio.
Too, completely.
I love boxing, so I might do that maybe every other week, maybe twice, 3 times a month, maybe.
Right.
But I work out 5 days a week. I do 2 days of like heavy weightlifting, but I'm not like 10-pound weights. Like I'm really I'm getting pushed. My trainer is amazing for that. And then I do my Pilates, hot Pilates. Hot yoga, like the breath work, the slowing down, it slows down your nervous system. And I realized my body looks better now doing these what I would then call this bullshit workout. That's not a workout, Now, I'm seeing more results. I have more muscle tone. I feel like my posture is really good. I can stand up straight. You know what I mean? And
I do.
It's crazy how you think you're doing something good for your body, but really your needs change as you age. And you need to you got to take care of your joints.
You got to honor it.
You got to honor it. You got to take care of your joints. You have to think about the inflammation that it's causing. Fine. There's nothing wrong with, hey, I feel like having an intense workout today. Yeah, go ahead and do it. I'll do it. I don't mind, but it's not going to be my daily routine. It's not going to be something I do.
Isn't that crazy how it's changed? And that's part of not going with the fads either. Hearing, all the popular exercises, or popular foods or popular diets. It's all about you need to figure out what's good for you. And there's tests,
right?
You could do your BMI, so you could track on how your body is responding
to certain
the in-body.
The in-body, that's amazing. So our hormone doctor has the in-body test, which you stand on, and it with electricity through your body. It's crazy how the first time I got on that machine, I had on I'm don't I have to be
naked,
take my clothes off to get the proper reading? They're no, it doesn't go by that. It goes by the currents that it runs through your body, and it measures how much your skeletal muscle mass, your fat mass, your how much each limb, how much my thigh is fat and how much of it is muscle. And how it's just incredible. I love that test.
Me too.
I'm
and
obsessed.
then I love the app.
The app.
I love seeing the app and the progression.
Right, exactly. So you get to see where your progress through the months. I do mine every 2 months, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
How about you?
Usually try to do it once a month.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, I mean, I like to just get that wow, yes, my body fat is going down. I mean, my body fat percentage has I think it went down 10 points since January.
Yeah, you see?
And it's
and you got to tweak it. So you look at your BMI, you look at your progression, and depending on that and your fitness goals is how you progress. And sometimes there's been times that I've looked at it and I've had to tweak whether it's my thyroid medication or my testosterone or my diet. It all depends.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, they test you. So
They
when
do.
you're on a hormone regimen, you get tested every 6 months.
yeah.
And then he'll look at it, analyze it, see where you're at, and see if it's just, sometimes it's that
The
little
slightest
minor
little,
tweak. You know, like, I'm just going to raise you. Let's add like 5, mLs more.
Yeah.
Let's see how you're at, how you feel.
Yeah.
If not, we'll drop you back down. I love it. It's like,
I think the
incredible.
communication with them is so key.
It is. It is.
But I know, it's like, I wish I could go back and tell myself, oh my God, all
You're-
those hours of sweating, cardio, and all of that.
I mean, it's good for, it depends on everyone's body type.
For me, even
You know?
back in my 20s, like thinking about it, I had issues with that because I would do tons of cardio.
Yeah.
And I was just getting bigger and bigger and more frustrated with looking at my appearance, and I felt like it really didn't reflect. And I remember people trying to be kind to me and saying, well, you're big boned. I'm like, girl, no, I'm not big boned.
That's the last thing you want to hear.
I'm not big boned. I'm just fluffy. That was the reality. But I knew, because I always fluctuated weight. My mom would joke around that I was like Jessica Simpson. That I would go like, fluffy Jessica Simpson, skinny Jessica Simpson, go back and forth. But that had a lot to do with my relationship with food.
With food and
Alcohol,
yourself.
with
And yourself.
myself, yeah.
Let's talk about body dysmorphia things, these things that we develop as we, from young to our age. You know what I mean? Like, I battle with it still, but I know it's there. Like, I see myself completely different than you probably see me, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I
do have to say, finally, like, I was talking to my family, and I was saying, oh my God, I just saw another family member, and they were freaking out about the way I looked. They hadn't seen me in a long time, like in 3-4 years, and they're like, Giselle, but you're a different person. And even the change of hair color. And I'm like, I'm looking at them, I am? I'm like, talk about body dysmorphia.
Right.
It sometimes takes people to like even say to me, hey, look at you. Or show me an old picture of myself where face recognition doesn't even like recognize me on my iPhone.
Now that's crazy.
That's so crazy how much weight and inflammation can distort you. And that was...
Isn't that crazy?
It's just insane. It's just the process.
Yeah.
But
and diet, for me, like, I don't eat pork. I barely eat red meat.
Yeah.
I'm not anemic at all, but I like, the more time passes, the more I'm going towards plant-based.
Yeah.
Just because it feels good. Like, it gives me energy. I don't feel bloated. I'm gluten-free, like probably 75 to 80% of my diet is gluten-free, because I also saw a difference when I started cutting out like starches and things like that. So, what you are what you eat.
So there's a test
it's
too.
true. You are what you eat. And
There's a test you can do for whether you're gluten sensitive, which is different.
Yeah, I'm sensitive.
Versus
Not
intolerant. So
Christina's intolerant.
There's a lot of people that don't even realize they're sensitive because, number one, the gluten in the United States is very different than the one in Europe.
Yeah.
So when you go to Europe, I could eat bread and I could have pasta and I could feel great.
Mm-hmm.
If I eat it here, and it's because of the way the wheat is processed here.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that you go to Europe, Italy, and you're eating pasta all day? I don't gain an ounce. I don't feel bloated. Yeah. I can't,
the portions are a lot smaller.
No, but
what they make.
It's like the
enzymes
in the food.
It's the ingredients in the
food. It's natural. They're not trying to like preserve it. They don't care about, I guess they don't care about shelf life or something. I don't know what it is. I would love to do a little bit more research, but that's incredible.
Oh, I have. So
even the milk. Do you know that I can drink whole milk?
Me
I
too.
can't drink whole milk here.
Too.
I'd be
or
a hot
cheese.
mess. Yeah, or cheese.
Cheese. I'm lactose intolerant. I've been since my 20s. It's something that it happened. But if I go to Europe, I could have cheese. I could drink milk. I could have that whole thing. And I did a lot of research on it before it became very popular and mainstream. Because now there's so much information about how the FDA allows a lot of food here that it's not allowed in Europe. And now there's a whole big thing of like, the meat, the lab grown meat that they're allowing here in the United States, and they're testing it out on one of the major restaurants from like a very renowned chef. But in Europe, in Italy, they've already banned it. So they have different regulations. So that's why it's not in our head. It's not. We don't make it up. It's a real thing that happens with our food here in the United States, and that's why we have a lot of food sensitivities and a lot of issues, a lot of hormone issues, because the food affects your hormones, which affects your mind, which affects everything. Food is your medicine. And that's part of what I've had to learn is how to utilize food as a way to heal myself. Like watermelon, when you have water retention, it's one of the most quenching things.
Pineapple is good too. And another thing too is how much you're eating, you're consuming. I like both of us now in the last few months have like drastically reduced the amount of food. I was like on meal plans when I was like doing all the like crazy workouts and stuff. I was on these meal plans that had me eating every 3 hours. Yeah, that's great if you're competing, and if you're like going to the gym twice a day and you have to like continuously feed but if you're just living a normal life, like I've noticed now, eating less. As you get older, you can't eat the same as you did before. You
can't eat as late.
Portions have to be smaller. You have to eat less times a day. You get used to it. At first, it was hard. I mean, my breakfast is like deal breaker. I have to have breakfast, but after my workout. But like sometimes I don't eat lunch until like 3-4 o'clock, and I may skip dinner. Like depending on what time I eat lunch is how I determine if I'm going to eat dinner or not. But I stopped all the snacking. I mean, unless it's like, okay, I want like a little something. But like, and I haven't. It's great. It's what my body needed. I'm reacting very well to it.
So what I learned is anytime you give your body rest from digestion, it gives it an opportunity to spend that energy. Instead of spending the energy in digesting the food, it has energy to work on your other organs, heal the rest of your body. So do those intermittent fastings,
it's amazing.
Or putting less strain on your body from like digesting very heavy food, it really does weigh you down literally and physically. So I do eat a lot less. So does Brett, and I do the same thing. We really there's times we don't eat dinner. And we call it,
and it's okay.
Lunch and dinner.
Right. If you maybe have a healthier serving of lunch, then it's okay. Actually, it's good to give your body, your organs a rest from digesting, and then the next day you're like you wake up,
you feel good.
Like,
your stomach's all flat. You feel great.
It's fine to do that. It's okay to skip a meal.
It's okay. I think we're so accustomed to consuming. Over-consuming. If you look at the portions that Americans eat, our plates are bigger, our portions are bigger. Everything it's consuming, constantly consuming, and part of like calming yourself and being in tune with your body is, am I hungry? Am I eating just because it's noon and it's lunchtime? Or because it's dinner time? What does my body really need?
Goes back to habit.
Habit, exactly. And part of that, it's breaking from that mold and really just saying, okay, what do I feel like? And so if you feel like having just fruit for dinner, and that's what your body's asking for, have fruit.
Yeah, or if you want froyo.
Exactly. Listen to
I can totally have froyo.
Listen to your body.
Breakfast for dinner.
Because at the end of the day, think about it. I don't know if this happens to you, but it's happened to me, is I'll have the dinner because I was brought up, you can't have your dessert until you eat your, or your full meal. Well, I would do that. So I would have my full meal that I really didn't want, because what I really wanted was the dessert.
But you're forced to finish this huge plate
meal,
of food too. That's
Exactly.
another thing.
It's a very Latin thing. You gotta eat all your food.
Yeah.
Shit, I grew up with like having the belt around their neck, and we had to eat all the food.
What?
Yeah, sure.
A belt around your neck.
On my parents, my mom would have a belt. Eat all your food. You're
No
not.
way.
I swear to God, we weren't allowed to leave the table until we ate all the food.
My grandma never had that problem. We like all ate. We ate good.
No,
she never had to force us to eat.
It's so
really?
Yes, I have
crazy.
such a vivid memory being in Ecuador, and they do this soup, this bone soup, and I would look at it and I would think it was so gross.
Actually, bone broth is very good for
and
you.
it would get oily because if it gets cold, and she's like, you better eat it before it gets colder. And I'm like, oh no. Now,
like the oil on the top.
Oh, the oil on the
gross.
top. Now, what I would give to have that soup now.
Really?
Oh my God, because the Ecuadorian soups are amazing. But back then, as a kid, you're looking at it, it looks funny.
Your soups are good. Remember that cute?
I'm such a soup
What's
person.
that soup you made me once?
Squash.
Oh, the asparagus one.
Well, the asparagus soups.
And I would have never thought I would have liked it. I was kind of like, oh, thanks. You made me asparagus soup. That shit was good, girl.
Listen,
what?
people make fun of me until they get on the G train.
Oh my God.
People make fun of my asparagus soup. But okay, so asparagus
wait, there was the butternut squash. That was Alessandro that made that for
because who
Thanksgiving.
do you think taught him? So a medical medium was one of which I really highly suggest everybody follow a medical medium if you're looking to heal yourself naturally with food. He's a great resource, and I got some of the recipes. So you make the instead of making the asparagus soup, let's say with cream, which is what makes it really yummy, I make it with potato. I will use butter or olive oil. Sometimes I'll use olive oil. It's a
little better than cream. How about sweet potato?
But the potato, what it does, it's like a replacement for the cream, so it makes it a little thicker. So I do that, and I'll use like a vegetable broth, and that soup is so healing for you. Because it's an anti-inflammatory, it has so many vitamins. Potatoes aren't bad.
Yeah.
I know, like that you were saying, sweet potatoes. Potatoes are not.
No, sweet potatoes are great.
And regular potatoes aren't bad.
Yeah.
But the way Americans eat them,
right?
We eat them like
mashed potatoes.
We eat them with tons of butter, sour cream, cheese. You put it, but in a soup like that, it has healing properties. But anyways, Medical Medium has tons of healing recipes, including for thyroid. They have a thyroid diet. They have a metal cleanse. You name it. So go check it out, everybody. It's a great resource, and it really has helped me on my wellness journey, especially when I didn't know. Like, I was desperate. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I so tired? What am I supposed to eat? I don't even know what to eat anymore. Jeez. And that was one of the recipes that I found. And the other one, the squash is such a great soup too. And all you do is you grill the vegetables in the oven, and then you blend them. So
after you grill them, you blend them?
That's the key. And now I do it in the air fryer. So I'll put the vegetables all in the air fryer with all the squash with some onion, some garlic. The garlic gets, and I'll baste it with olive oil, salt and pepper, and then I'll put it all in the blender. So it's garlic, onions, and the squash, and then I'll put some vegetable broth in it. And it makes such a yummy soup, full of nutrition, full of vitamins. Yeah, it's great.
No, you can't have your own cooking show.
No, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm in my empty nester, I barely cook mode right now. It's so nice, After you finally deal with the harsh reality of your children having their own lives and not being around you. Now I'm going through
enjoy it.
Now I'm going through the phase of like, wait a minute, this is kind of nice, coming home and resting and just, focusing on my energy on the podcast, on, our new ventures. It's really nice. On my relationship with Brad, having these
having time for each other
having
too.
like these really like delicious conversations.
Yeah.
Like last night was Friday night.
Important.
Yeah, last night was Friday night, and I put like one of our favorite playlists on, and he did like a little tray. We didn't feel like having dinner, so we had like olives and a little charcuterie little thing that Brett did, and a little mocktail, and we just sat there and had a great conversation. To me, that is some of the most valuable things you can do.
How do you guys still have great conversations and you work together and you're with each other all day long? How do you not run out of things to talk about?
Well, the assumption is that we're doing...
But you're not.
We're doing everything together, but
You're
we're not. Brett was at job sites all day. I was with the staff having meetings. We really didn't see each other at all. We barely spoke because we had such jam-packed schedules. So your assumption, most people's assumption is that we're seeing each other all day. We don't.
Sometimes we probably don't even see each other.
No, not at all. Not till from morning and then into the evening.
Last but not least, one of our favorite topics is beauty and body treatments, skincare regimens. It's so important to have your beauty skincare regimen. Like, skincare is the ultimate. Remember, your age shows on your face, your neck, your hands, all of that. So you want to invest in really good skincare. Okay, they say that the drugstore brands, I don't feel that they're the same weight, the same I've tried them, but no. For me, that's something that it's worth investing money in because it's your skin, and you want to take care of your skin. You want to get your microneedling, your PRP.
Go see a good dermatologist.
Go to a dermatologist.
Have them scan your face.
Yeah. Oh, they do a full body scan.
Yeah.
So I have my appointment now this week.
Recently I did a face scan to see all the damage, sun damage, to see about getting laser because I have hyperpigmentation.
And it's funny because you're light skinned.
You would think, but it's another genetic thing.
But yours is the other way.
I get
white spots.
Well, I have a couple different.
Okay. Girl!
I have a couple issues with my skin. I got blessed with very good skin. So that I have to thank mom and dad for that. But I do have issues. I have hyperpigmentation that it looks like I have contouring here.
Oh yeah.
So it hits me right here.
Okay.
Now you don't see it visible right now because I usually get laser every year. I wait till after the summer. Mm-hmm. But right now with that PCA bar that you recommended me, the pigment bar,
I love that.
I'm able to keep it under control, which we'll share it on Instagram as well because that bar is amazing.
Oh, that's a must.
That's a must.
Every woman should, especially if you love sun.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Get a lot of, sun exposure.
So the hyperpigmentation I have under control, but so it took laser first, getting it removed, and then I use products like the PCA bar and creams to and hydrochloric acid to keep keep it under control.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and the most recent thing that I did was the Morpheus. So I was recommended.
Yay or nay? I heard it's painful as.
So Morpheus. I was recommended 3 treatments. It's not cheap. It's expensive.
Does it work? Do you see the results?
It's painful. It's expensive. I looked at my before and afters, and I saw slight, change. My big thing is the jowls. That bothers me right here. That's my genetic thing where I have that.
Well, I mean, gravity, everything.
And then
goes
I had
down
it done
too.
And I was seeing aging in my neck. So I had the Morpheus done on my neck and on my face.
Your neck looks great. So
now it does. So it does.
It worked. But maybe it's just good for certain, I don't know, maybe you didn't need it on your face. You needed more skin tightening on your neck. I mean, it looks great. I think it worked. I mean, everyone's different though. You know, what may work for me
Plus,
might not
I think
work
a lot
for
of it is progressive too. It helps build collagen. Collagen takes time.
Exactly. And you stop producing collagen, I think, in your mid-20s, they say.
Mm-hmm. It starts going down.
So, like, when you're starting, that's why prevention is so important. Starting, like, young, early on,
Yeah.
because then you get to, like, kind of get ahead of it.
Yeah.
You don't want to start doing these treatments yourself when you're already seeing the wrinkles and the little sunspots and the this and that. Like, by that time, it's, like, you're already there. You're losing collagen every day.
I think it's many different things you got to do in order to, like, stay at your best. I do get Botox.
Yeah. Prevention.
Right.
When did you start getting Botox?
I want to say, was it 30s or 40s?
30s.
I think it was 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like 31, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, back then, like, when you're that young, like,
it looks so good.
The result is, like, so much better.
It is.
It was like, I'm awake. It's like,
I know, your eyes open up.
Like,
but we've also done mistakes.
Well, okay, there's a fine line. Because you have there's great injectors that are very conservative and they just want to, like, correct a few things and kind of improve some asymmetry here and there. And they look at it with a medical eye and like an artistic eye. But then you have the other injectors that are just like, they don't take the less is more approach. They're just like more. Because they want you to come back. They want you to have that, like, wow, like, impactful, And it's easy to overdo it. And that's the problem that a lot of women have, is that it's when you're putting injectables in your face, those stay there. It stays, yes, some of it does dissolve with, like, your metabolism, with, you're working out, you're sweating every day. Yeah, you're going to, a lot of it is water-based. So your body metabolizes it, but a lot of it stays. And what happens when you keep injecting yourself over and over again with that old shit you have in there and the new shit that you have in there, now it's like migrating to, like, your entire face, and now you start looking distorted and crazy. So it's all about, like, take it slow, like, less is more approach to beauty, do the little tweaks here and there. You'll feel like $1 million if you feel you need it. If you don't feel you need it, don't do it. Save your money. Shit, it's expensive,
I think,
but, like,
my
just take it slow, chill.
My approach to fillers, Botox, and all of this has definitely changed.
Yeah.
At one point, and this is it has a lot to do with self-love too and acceptance. Yeah. Is when I would have the fillers or whatever done, I was, like, looking to kind of change my face a little bit. And shit, that's one of the things that I actually do really like about myself, how critical I am. I do like my face. And what it's evolved to is I want to look like Giselle.
Right.
I don't want to look like a distorted version of
Kylie
myself.
Jenner.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. I want to look like myself, so it's a matter of looking fresh for me, not overfilled. Mm-hmm. I'll get a little lip filler. I don't like the fillers on my like protruding out on my cheeks too much. Yeah. Even though for the gels, that's one of the things they recommend is to do filler here. So that's to lift it.
Yeah, but
I don't like the result.
I mean, and there's something to be said about, like, a woman's age. Like, okay, like, do you really want to be in your 40s but look like you're, like, a little, like, 20-year-old? Like,
yes.
You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, every line has character. No, I mean,
but that's part of the thing that I love. Like, another thing, I always go back to European or even Spanish women.
Yeah.
We could live in a society where there's still ageism.
Right.
And I think part of the issue that maybe we have subconscious or consciously is we're trying to look younger than maybe ourselves because we don't want to be dealing with the fact already we're a minority because we're women. Then we're a minority because we're Latin. And now we're going to get hit.
Now we're old because we're
going to go through old hags going through that ageism thing.
Yeah.
Especially in Miami.
I know, it's hard. It's hard.
It's a lot to balance out. And part of it is like, no. We are the generation that can make the change. Let's honor the fact that aging is a beautiful thing. It's a privilege to get older.
Yeah.
It's a
And
privilege.
it's okay to gain 10 pounds.
It's okay to gain 10 pounds.
Or get gray hair.
Get gray hair, even though I dye my hair. You should see how gray I am. I think I could be like almost all white, which I thought about going all gray, but I don't think I'm quite ready for that. The point is, it's your personal journey,
Right.
and women our age and that we're putting ourselves out there should honor the fact that aging is it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And there's other parts of the world that respect the wisdom that comes with age, and the advice and the things that we have to give back to society.
Absolutely.
And part of it is like, what's your personal journey with aging? How are you going to honor yourself and be different than...
And love yourself through every phase of it.
Yeah.
Because it's all phases that we go through. And it's just accepting it and loving yourself more and looking forward to really the next journey, to the journey.
Exactly. And I think the more we show women that it can be done with grace and with acceptance and with love, this whole aging thing, that's why, people are like, are you going to say that you're 50 next year? I'm like, I'm going to carry you with a badge of honor.
I'm going to be proud.
I'm going to be proud. I'm like, do you know what it took for me to get to this place of acceptance, of health, of well-being, of I want to share it, and I want to honor it, and I want to stand with it, and it's okay. I don't want to be one of those people that lies about my age.
Are you sure? Just kidding.
Maybe.
I love that, though. That is beautiful. That's beautiful, and that's very inspiring. So to all you 20-year-olds out there, you have something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
That is perfect. We'll end on that note.
Yeah. So 49 on Monday.
Age is just a number, but
and
49 beautiful years. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
All you've accomplished.
I'm proud of my sons.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the mom I am. I'm proud of the mother that I am, the wife, the business, creative. I honor the crazy Giselle with all her big ideas that in my younger years was kind of ridiculed. Giselle with her crazy ideas. Well, you know what? I'm going back to that younger self and saying thank you for being impulsive and for being that way, because I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, absolutely, girl. Proud of you.
Proud of you, and thank you once again for hosting us.
Of course.
In your beautiful space with these
Thank
beautiful
you.
roses and this very yummy
Which I drank
mocktail.
all of mine already. You gotta
Cheers.
catch up. Cheers. So let's just take a few minutes. I think we're just gonna give 2 Q&A questions since this is already kind of long. Should I read them off?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's our first question, Janet?
So first question is this is good for you. How did you manage to steer clear of social drinking while working in the industry, especially in a city like Miami that thrives off of nightlife and networking?
So I guess first is mindset. Knowing that I was walking into a situation that serves alcohol and having in mind what can I do as an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing was I'll either have them put Perrier with lemon or seltzer water. You have to get creative.
Yeah.
But again, having the whole thing think about it, when you're in a social event, it's the hand to mouth.
Right.
And that's what I discovered. It was the hand to mouth thing. As long as my mind is preoccupied in a mocktail and I'm drinking that,
you're okay with it.
I'm okay with that. And then
it's not like you're going clubbing. The clubbing days are over. That would probably be a little difficult.
Of course. then we need one of those gummies for sure. And listen, I've learned so much about gummies and different alternatives.
Yeah, they're great. I love them.
So most of the time depending on how I feel and if I want to be kind of chill and feel like I'm celebrating, I'll do a little gummy beforehand, and I have my mocktail, and it's really helped me. But even that, but then I don't want to like switch one addiction to the other. So now I'm in the process of like, okay, let me maybe not.
But it doesn't have to be an addiction. Everything in moderation.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
That's it. So
Exactly. So that's my coping mechanism for everybody. Anybody who's trying to is like start off with a little gummy, figure out what's good for you,
yeah.
and just do a little mocktail and play with the mocktail recipes.
And you know, if you're with your friends, nobody has to know.
Nobody has to know. That's another thing. Like at the beginning when I first stopped drinking, I felt like I had to talk about it.
Oh, like it was like a thing.
It was
like,
a thing.
What you're drinking? Are you pregnant? You're not
something.
drinking?
It was like, well, oh, or what's wrong with you? People
like,
don't need to know that you're not drinking.
Yeah, I mean,
that's your own personal journey.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a whole conversation because not everybody's comfortable sharing, you know, especially when you're dealing with your own battles of getting used to it.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I love that. Actually, and it was perfect because it was just about like what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so second question. This is more of a design related question, but it's a good one. How valuable is it to, or do you keep a consistent, reliable technical or engineering consultant available or on call when performing challenging or major work when implementing your designs? For example, if you want to modify an existing load-bearing wall to open up a space. No, but I wish I did. That would come in like really handy when it's something like that. Like, can I do that? Like what I want to do. But normally it's an architect. I consult with the architect, you know, and worst case scenario, if you don't have one on record yet, then take a freaking hammer to the wall, you know what I mean? And start opening up, you know, if is there something behind this wall that you can't open? Obviously the client has to be like, okay with it, you know, because you can have all the ideas in the world, but if it can't be done, then you've just wasted all this time if you've designed it. And that happened to me once actually. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that would be great to have, you know, somebody with an engineering mind that can like.
And we do. We have a consultant architect that we deal with all the time for these type of things because we do a lot of remodels. Mm-hmm. And we deal with this. Yeah, and we deal with this very often. So we do have somebody. I mean, you have to deal with the experts. Don't mess around with that.
No way. Yeah, exactly. Like you don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that was a good question. Both of them were. Thank you guys for sending those in. And please feel free to DM us, send us a message. And if there's anything else you want to ask. And again, thank you for joining us. And let us know how you liked our season so far. Episode 7 is next one. And that'll be ending season 1.
Wow, we did it.
I know. We're going into the fall and winter, so we've got a lot of good stuff.
And we have some new surprises. I think you guys are really going to enjoy, so stay tuned in. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, and you can listen to us on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you found all this information really helpful.
And happy birthday, Giselle.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Cheers to you.
Yes, thank you.